One of the questions we get asked the very most is, do you have a therapist you can recommend for me? And while we wish that we knew of therapists in every single place, in every single part of the country, we don't. So what do we tell them instead, Mel?
We say check out BetterHelp because it's online, it's at a reasonable price, and you can be matched with a therapist within 24 hours. I've also used them and they have been great. And if you don't like your therapist, guess what? Click, and get a new one.
Absolutely. It's so hard when you have an in-person therapist, if you're not clicking with them, to cut them off and get a new one. So that's not an issue with BetterHelp. So we always tell people to try BetterHelp. And if you use our promo code, which is
trybetterhelp.com/WWDN,
you get 10% off your first month.
Go ahead and try it out. That's trybetterhelp.com/WWDN. And you know what? I'm a big fan of doing therapy where you don't have to wear pants, but nobody knows about it.
Are you wearing pants right now, Mel?
I'll see you later. Bye. That's trybetterhelp.com/WWDN.
We've been talking to each other for like an hour already now that we're recording. So hi, Mel.
Hi, Nita.
I'm excited about today.
Yeah, me too. It was interesting and fun to edit these and learn what's happening. So now that we've already had a full discussion, we'll let you know in on the secret. This is an episode full of some updates from previous guests that you have heard before if you've listened to every episode.
Now, full disclosure, we've been sitting on these for kind of a long time. It's hard because we try and gather a bunch of them, and widows are forgetful, and so they forget to send them to us. And so then it's like, okay, we finally just have to put them out there. So they're kind of old as far as updates go.
And we're also widows and forget things. And also, I think they arrived during a time of trial, no pun intended, for me.
Oh, so, like literally
a trial. So apologies for those who sent these a long time ago.
Before we get to the updates, Mel, can I give you an update on what happened on Saturday to me?
Yeah.
I went to a race, and while I was at the race, we were waiting between the end of the race and the awards ceremony, and we were joking. Somebody was asking me what next race I was going to do, and I was telling them that I was going to Colorado with my brother. We were going to go do a race, and I was laughing that my brother has a spreadsheet, and everything is planned down to the gram, down to the minute, down to the like carb. Everything is very planned for him. And I was like, and me? I showed up to this race this morning and didn't even know what time it started. So we were kind of laughing about how we have two very different styles. And somebody said something, and then they said, well, your husband probably has a spreadsheet. I think they got confused that I was doing this with my brother, not with my husband. And I said, oh, my husband's dead. And then you know how that goes. Everybody goes, wah, wah, silence. And then, is he really? I said, yeah, he really is. And so we started talking a little bit about that. How long ago, what happened, and are you dating? That's always the question. I said, I am not dating. I have not ever dated. I haven't really had any desire to or wanted to, and I'm just really busy. So we keep talking. And a few seconds later, this guy sidles up and he says, hey, I was eavesdropping on your conversation. And can I get your phone number? And he's like, I have a brother and I'd love to set you up with him. And I was in full panic mode, Mel, because I'm like, is this how it works? Is this normal? Everybody, is that normal? Is that how we do it? Is that how it's done? And I'm like, is it normal for you to ask for somebody else?
In junior high, it is. I don't know about adult.
I don't know. But then I was talking to at work and they were like, yeah, that's normal. I'm like, is it?
Wait, was the brother at the race? Because that would be weird.
No, the brother doesn't even live here.
Okay. I think that's normal then, because then he's thinking, oh, this is somebody that could be a potential for my brother. I'm going to get the number. But if he's there and he says, can you go up and get that lady's number?
Oh, yeah.
Then that's a little non-adult-ish.
Okay, but I was like, I don't know what to do. So I gave him my number. But then I was like, I don't actually know if I want to give people my number. Do I want to give people my number? I don't not want to, but I don't think I want to either.
Here's the deal. You can always block somebody.
That's what I thought in my head. I was like, I don't have to respond to that person if they text me.
You can respond, and if it doesn't feel like something you want to do, you can be honest and say it. And maybe it would be even be on text because that's how everyone communicates now.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah. Okay, that's making me
less
feel
scary.
a little bit better. But I just felt like kind of out of control of the situation, which is also stupid. Like I'm totally in control. I could have said, I'm not really interested in that, but I didn't because there were a ton of people like watching the whole situation. And I'm like, how do I know he's not gross? Like, how do I assess if,
What if he thinks you're gross?
he
There's
doesn't know
also
about
that.
my secrets? So he'll find out.
Well,
Yeah.
here's the thing that's interesting. How many times have we talked in these little blah blahs at the beginning of the episode about Anita going on a date? I've been offering you up for a long time. Nobody is biting. I've offered Mark, your brother-in-law, up to people on the
women.
out
I
in wherever.
actually texted him. I was like, "Is this normal? Is this how it's done?" And he's like, I don't know. I think so. I'm not sure." It's like we haven't dated for, 20 years. So, guys, is that how you do it? Question mark. Is that normal? Do you give your number to people like that you don't know? Ha!
Yeah,
Since
give him
signed
your email next time.
my spam email that I give to all like Michaels and Joanne's.
Your Hotmail account.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
AOL.
Yeah, totally. All right. Well, I just needed to get that off my chest because I have a lot of weird feelings about that.
Well, don't you have a bike race in Colorado this weekend? What if he's there?
Oh, yeah. That's where this guy lives, is in Colorado. I mean, I'm not taking time out of like my bike race time to like, what is he going to come give me a high five as I go sweating and huffing and puffing on past?
Wait, this could be the perfect Hallmark movie, Anita.
Oh, yeah. I don't know about that.
What if he owns a little holiday store that's failing and he needs you to move there with
Because
your
I'm
kids?
such a big city girl.
Yeah, you're the big city girl and you're going to help him find a way to earn money to keep his store going. And then as you hang a picture, he's going to fall more in love with you, but then you're going to be annoyed with him. And then there's going to be conflict about 2/3 of the way through the movie, and then you'll get together.
There's a betrayal, and then the other one has to run after the other one in the airport or whatever, and then read him a poem.
Yeah, and then actually the big twist at the end is he says, actually, guess what? I'm a widower, so I understand. And then that's when, as you're walking away, you turn back and you have stars in your eyes, and then you get together.
Okay.
But don't get happily ever after. Just go on a date and maybe like learn about each other first.
Yeah. Okay. Everybody tell me and help me to feel better about the whole situation because I don't like it. I don't like any of it. The end.
I can't even handle it either. So
and yes, of course, I texted Mel all of this immediately after it happened. So she already knows, but
yeah, I was also shocked. Not shocked that somebody would want to go out with you, Anita, but shocked that it happened. Yeah, and I think if that happened to me, I would freeze.
Would you give them your number? You don't give anybody your number. You're very weird about your number.
I'm so weird about my number. I would give them my email, maybe.
Okay, yeah.
My Yahoo email.
Oh, by the way, we have a date for tomorrow, you and I.
Oh, yes. We do.
We're going to go to Wicked tomorrow. Well, I'm going to sit next to you while you play the piano at Wicked. So it will be the full circle moment of when we first met, sort of.
It will, yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Again, if you're skipping around on episodes or haven't heard all of them, the first time that I had heard from Anita ever was when I checked my email during intermission when Wicked was here in Salt Lake in 2019, and I was playing for them because I had heard that Jason had died, and I was so worried about her, even though I didn't know her, and then was waiting for things to die down, no pun intended. And then she reached out to me, and I was like, finally, And now here we are with a podcast, and someone asked you out on a date, and you're going to be in a Hallmark movie.
And you have green hair, so does that make you what's her face? And I'm Glinda.
Elphaba. Oh yeah,
Elphaba.
because she's blonde. Yes.
Yes. Isn't Glinda kind of the bad guy though? So
I don't know. It's hard for me to know all the ins and outs of things.
You're not paying attention to any of that. You're just like play the note, play the note.
I have headphones on and I have like 18 channels of mixer, and there's people I need to hear and people I don't need to hear, and none of those people are like human singing. So it's like the click, the drums.
You don't hear the people singing at all?
I can if I want, but it's just like a general mix from the house that it's in a channel that says vocals. So I can kind of hear it if I need to, but when you're playing in the pit, you're supposed to follow the conductor so that even if the singer is wrong, you're still together with the 13 other musicians.
So it's clear that it's the singer's fault and not yours. Otherwise, they might think it's your fault.
Or it's clear that they were back phrasing. Maybe the singer was back phrasing.
Oh, something like that means.
It means
I think I know.
Here's the tempo, and a singer, instead of being like, I am Anita, it'd be like, I am Anita, or something.
Right.
I don't know.
I got it.
But did you know you're going to get your own mixer? So you don't have to listen to mine, which is just loud drums and 3 keyboards. You can hear everybody you want. You can turn the vocals up. It's going to be great. You can watch the conductor on a little
But
screen.
not what's happening on stage.
No.
That's the best part.
Yeah. They're like, you can bring a pit guest as long as they're not here to watch the show from the pit. And then you have to sign a thing that says you will not take pictures or post about it. And guess what? Guess who I saw last week when I was playing one of our shows? Someone who's been a guest on our podcast. Her name is Laura Bradbury.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
She just got her PhD. She just finished her PhD, so that's very exciting.
I know. It was so good
Congrats.
to see her. And she had her nieces with her. So cute.
That's fun.
Everybody, remember to join the Widow Wives Club, because that's where all the people are. And you're going to find a nice online community of people who get it. And some of our friends that are in there, they are friends in real life after meeting in the online group, and they go and visit each other.
Yes.
So do it. It's so good.
And also, before we get to the episode of updates, remember, if you would like us to do a tribute to your person, you can find that on our Patreon, and we will do a little blurb about them, a little tribute to them on a podcast. So go to patreon.com/WWDN and you'll find it there.
We would love to help your person's memory to live on, and we're here to help do that. All right. Thanks to all of our previous guests who were on the podcast and sent these updates. We're so happy to hear from you and hear how you're doing. And I think that our listeners are going to find this valuable and really relatable.
They love it. I love it too. We got to reach out to the next batch and try and get the next batch of updates too. So I'll be on top of that.
Me too. And whenever I hear the updates, I'm like, I wish we could all hang out.
I know.
Also, since nobody responds to my calls for anything on this, if somebody does, maybe somebody could help us facilitate a Widow We Do Now gathering.
Ooh.
Because Anita and I have problems. We can show up. We just are not organizationally minded at this point in time. We'll see if anyone responds to this. Probably not.
Okay.
Okay.
Who's our first update from?
Our first update is from Deb Nylec, episode 101.
Hi, Anita and Mel. This is Deb Nylec, or Not a Debbie Downer. It has been 3.5 years as of last Wednesday since my husband died. I try not to count the halves and the months anymore. It's just that the 3.5 years also fell on our anniversary. So it's exactly 6 months between that and his death date. So always mixed bag of emotions around that. I have found that the overall grief is more manageable now than it was certainly early on. There's definitely skills at this point that I know to use when I know I'm heading into a bad place or down over one of the waves, as they say. Being an empty nest, evenings are still really difficult for me, so I do a lot to try and keep busy in the evenings. I have a tap dance class I go to once a week. I have been working on a book ever since Mark died, about poems and essays on grief. So I've kind of always got that in my pocket as something I can do, and especially on weekends. Let's see, I will be heading full-time teaching in the fall. I've been part-time since he died, but I'll be going back full-time at a great opportunity that I could not pass up, even though it meant leaving a job and a staff that I totally love to work with. But I'll be starting a new preschool closer to my home. It'll be fantastic. And then I also started getting into stand-up comedy, which has been by far the strangest hobby I've ever had. All of my sets stem from a widow perspective, because death obviously is not funny, but sometimes the life that happens afterward and some of the things and perspectives you have can be funny. So I've been kind of making light of it. I think it has actually helped a lot with my grief, to talk and laugh my way through it. And what's really interesting is I get a lot of people in the audience who come up to me afterward and they say, I'm a widow too. Thank you for doing that. And actually talking about it, because I think some people are still way too afraid to talk about death and grief. I have attempted to dip my toes into the dating pool. It has not been going fantastic, but I'm not a Debbie Downer. So at the very least, this attempting to date ends up being a lot of comedy material. Anyway, I hope you guys are doing well. I hope all of the Widow We Do wives out there are doing well. Hugs to all. Bye.
I really want to be able to go to one of her shows at one point in time. Wouldn't that be so awesome? I love that you're doing that, Debbie.
Deb, when can we come? Will you schedule it for us and organize it?
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, next up we have episode 94, Constance Bell Dahlbeck. This is our friend from Sweden who we love so, so much.
I'm so excited to hear from Constance. It's been a long time since we've been able to talk to her and see her. Let's hear what she has to say.
Hey guys, just checking in and want to say, if you are enjoying this podcast
and you want to see it keep going, maybe it's helped you through your widowhood journey and you think that it might help others on their widowhood journey, you can support that cause by joining our Patreon.
Some of the things that you get as a Patreon beneficiary are ad-free episodes, so you don't have to hear ads like this.
You also get exclusive content, and at a certain level, you might also get an exclusive t-shirt. You can only get that place.
That is true. It's pretty cool. There are 4 different tiers available, so check it out. It's patreon.com/WWDN.
And as an extra bonus, very often you get your names read by one of my kids, and they will do a terrible job with the pronunciation. And that's like a bonus, I think.
I think it's kind of the best. I would much rather hear somebody butcher my name than say it correctly.
A child butcher it than an adult do it correctly. Yep. So go to patreon.com/WWDN to keep our podcast going and support the widowed cause.
Yes. Thanks, guys. Back to our regularly scheduled program.
This is Constance, earlier Constance Bell Dahlbeck, but now only Constance Bell. My husband Johan died July 2020 of stomach cancer. I was just shy of my 35th birthday when I was widowed, and I am I'm turning 39 this year. My initial episode was in 2022. I've been widowed for 4 years almost. I'm starting with the big life changes. Johan was sick for 3 years, and I had a lot of anticipatory grief. We worked through a lot of those issues together, meaning a lot of the shock was sort of dealt with when he died. I went straight into horrible, horrible sadness. Worked very closely with a therapist. And so in my episode I said that I was dating someone and that it was going well. It went very well because we are now married and we have a 1-year-old girl. So yeah, big life changes. My grief is definitely more manageable, but it's still a trauma that has happened to me. It's still something that you would look at the timeline of my life, there's like a big gaping hole, a crater. And then now there are flowers around that crater, but it's still there. It will always be there. This type of grief is trauma. And when you look at it like that, you just realize that it's not being sad and it goes away. It's just, it becomes more manageable. It becomes easier in the day-to-day. It's still something extremely horrible that happened. I'm still very, very angry that this wonderful person didn't get to live. I'm still very sensitive to stress. I've had to work on myself quite a bit in different periods of time with different therapists. Sort of like, it felt like I had to take my personality from square one. Well, maybe not my personality, but the way I manage situations, perhaps. And I think I've got a good way now, but I'm definitely more sensitive to any kind of change or stress. And I'm very, very open about it. And that helps for people to understand. Also, it's a very good gauge of character for other people. Their reactions tell me if they deserve to be in my life or not. I've been thinking about how I handled the early days, and I'm actually very proud of myself. The way I was open about my feelings, the way I let people in. It was hard at first. I didn't really know how to ask for help, but I did, and it got easier. Have I accomplished anything amazing? It says here in your list of questions to help me tell my story. Have I accomplished anything amazing? Well, I gave birth. Worked on my healing. I've worked so fucking hard on my healing. Healing from trauma never really goes away. You're never really done. And you have to remember to keep being kind to yourself. Because it's so fucking unfair what happened. It's so unbelievably horrible. And society tells us we have to bounce back from anything that happens and we just have to keep going. And that's not the case. We're allowed to change because of it. We're allowed to take it easier, to give ourselves grace. We're allowed to be kind and compassionate to ourselves. Nobody gets to tell us that we're lazy, taking the easy way out. You know what? The easy way out, if it works, if it's fine, if it doesn't hurt anyone, take the fucking easy way out. My life is pretty good at the moment. I will always carry this trauma inside me. I will never be able to explain fully to someone who hasn't gone through it what it means. I'm still embracing the and. I can have a good life and be conscious of how this trauma has changed me. I love you guys. You've helped me so much, every one of you. And I think we'll keep helping each other for a long, long time. Lots of love from me.
Oh, Constance's baby is probably like old and cute now, but she was so cute when we got to meet her in Sweden.
Okay, next up we have episode 120, Julie Martella. You all know her. She's so fun. We love her so much. And her episode, as she mentions in a bit, is called The Unintended Farmer. So she's going to update us on that.
Hey, Anita and Mel. It's Julie, the unintended farmer from episode 120. If you remember, my Jason died in 2017 in June, 1 month after we both turned 46. And it's now been almost 7 years. And it's been a doozy. I'd like to just check in and let you know how things are going. I am still the unintended farmer. I keep trying to sell the farm and get out of it, but the universe has given me a hard no on that. And you know, that pill has been hard to swallow because you always think that you can just leave whenever you want. But in my situation, I don't. And I have to keep farming. However, the good news is I just found a lovely new young man who's going to be my new farmer for me. So I'm very excited about that. But things are also, even though those things are hard, other things are growing really well. My organizing business with widows, specifically my workshops and my classes and my blog and the podcast with Navigating Widowhood, those are growing so beautifully and organically and in ways that I never imagined. And really, that has kept me from losing my mind. Like, let's be real. And as long as I'm busy with that, then I can say, no, I can't farm. I have to do this. So it's been great. So, but I wanted to share that at 6.5 years, my grief has really softened. And for me, that's a relief. Jason has become a sweet, fond memory, which is both. I mean, it's a mixed blessing. It's a blessing and a curse. The softness, the memory, it makes it easier to live in this world, but it's also tinged with this sense of bittersweet because he's not here and his memory continues to fade and get, like you're erasing a chalkboard with your fingers, right? It's getting fuzzier. I have tried dating several times. I do not like the apps. It hasn't been very successful. However, I'm okay with that because I've really taken this time to decide what Julie 2.0 needs in her life, what she wants to do, and how would a partner fit into that. So that has been quite an adventure. My support system has stabilized, it's changed. Both of my daughters moved home following their professional educational paths. That has been a challenge and it's been a delight because I'm getting to see them. When my husband died, they were teenagers and it was really rough. But now they've come home and they are young adults. And after, there's always a period of adjustment, but we're settling into life in a way that's peaceful and loving. And we're getting ready to get a puppy. So that's exciting too. If I could give one piece of advice to young Julie who was just widowed, I would tell her to hang on. It's going to get better. The intense tsunami of grief, that wave will crash and eventually the ocean will settle. And I would tell her that I'm proud of the woman that she's going to become. Because even though this horrible thing happened, the lining in that is it forced me to become a very strong person and a very resilient person, and ultimately a person who decided to make her life bigger because of the love that her husband gave her, right? I gave myself permission to live, and not just permission to live, but permission to have a life big enough for the both of us. All right, ladies, I hope all is well with you. I love everyone so much, and I can hardly wait to meet you all, if and when that ever happens.
Julie is doing such good work. She's speaking at all the Camp Widows. She's doing all of the things. She's helping all the people. And, you got to love when somebody gets a new puppy. Who's probably not a puppy anymore. Oop.
Hopefully potty train. That might be a good thing.
Sheesh, yes.
Okay, up next we have episode 110. This is our friend Krista Waitt.
Oh, Krista. She's my pocket widow. I love her.
Pocket widow? What's a pocket widow?
She's just like tiny.
Oh, I thought you meant she was like in your pocket on your phone and you like texted her all the time.
She could like fit in my pocket because she's just cute.
She's the greatest. Well, here is what she is up to.
So, how am I coping? That was the first question they asked. And I guess, to be honest, I'm coping well. I never would have thought 3 years ago I would be able to say I was coping well. But now I'm a couple of months, almost 3 months into year 4 as a widow, and I'm doing all right, period. Just all right. Some days I still sob and cry. And honestly, I'm not sure if there's been a day that tears haven't fallen from these eyes since my husband passed away. But the tears don't last as long, and the days I stay in bed, I don't stay there as long. And when I get angry and want to yell and scream, sometimes I do, but even the anger doesn't last as long. I think what's harder for me is simply the fact that A lot of people don't even acknowledge my husband anymore. They don't say his name. When I do get to hear someone say John, or I thought about John, or I remembered this thing John and I did, or did John ever tell you, I smile from ear to ear. I will never get tired of hearing other people say his name. And when they take the time to shoot me a message or a DM saying they thought of him, even in a random way, it helps me to cope a little bit better on that day. Sometimes those messages come when I'm having a really crappy day, and sometimes they come when I'm having an excellent day. It really doesn't matter when those messages come or when those people stop me at an event and give me a hug and tell me they thought of him the other day. That is what never gets old for me. But it doesn't happen that often. I honestly think sometimes that people forget that I'm alone. I go out, I spend time with friends, and I still love my community. But I don't think people realize how hard it is to be alone. I'm always the third wheel or the fifth wheel or the whatever the odd number is, depending on the side of the group. Everyone has a person in my life except for me. And sometimes that just stings. Not sure if I'll ever get used to it. I'm not currently dating either, so chances are alone is still going to be my MO for quite some time. I have made at least one pretty big life change, which also falls into the have I done anything amazing. I applied and got accepted to nursing school and am now in my second semester. Currently have a 4.0 if we only look at the nursing classes portion of my return to college life as 46 when I started. Now I'm 48-year-old. And I'm pretty proud of myself for that. It's hard, but in a short 14 and a half months, I will be taking my boards and be a registered nurse as soon as I pass those. So I'm pretty impressed with myself for that. It's not easy, and it took a lot of talking to make that decision with my therapist and my kids and my closest people, but I'm glad I did it. I hope that one day I can give back to even just one family, but hopefully many, the way that the nurses who cared for my husband gave back to me and helped us through our darkest days. As for advice that I would give the earlier me, just keep breathing, honey. Just keep breathing. It's always going to hurt, and you're always going to miss your husband, but he's always going to be a part of you. So sleep late when you're able to sleep early on. Reach out to others, even when they stop reaching out to you, because their life moved on. And just because their life moved on doesn't mean they don't still love you. Above all, the best advice, find a community. Find some other partner loss grievers. Yes, on Facebook is great, but find some people who get it. And even if it's like me, a few trips once or twice a year, a running text message with a group of amazing widows, those humans are the ones who help me the most. I'd give that advice to the earlier me to find them sooner. And I'd give that advice to anyone who is facing widowhood, male, female, early on in the early weeks, months. Even if it's been years and years and years, find some people who know what that loss is like. It doesn't have to be the same way. Your people don't have to have died in the same manner. Just find some people who also lost the one they wanted to love for the rest of their life. Those will be the people who give you the most strength throughout this journey. I love you all, and finding the Widow We Do Now podcast with Mel and Anita was one of the best things I did after becoming a widow.
Anita, I hear we have a store.
Oh, we sure do. We've actually had it for quite a while. It's called the Snarky Grief Shop, and it's where you will find all of our best grief merch. That is, yes, a little snarky. For instance, it's where you will find the official widow card that you can pull and use at your convenience.
You can put it in your wallet, and anytime you need to use it, pull it out, play the widow card.
Yeah, we have glow-in-the-dark stickers. We have shirts that say, "Be nice, my husband is dead." We also have the ones that are not quite as jarring, so that you can wear them out in public and not feel weird. But sometimes you need that shirt.
I wear my "Be nice, my husband is dead" to bed because I'm a little scared to go in public with it. But you've worn it on airplanes before with your kids.
Yeah, every time we go to the airport, I wear that shirt because I'm just like, listen, I got to get all these kids through security. Just be nice to me. Thank you so much. And it's worked for the most part.
Some of the less snarky grief shirts are podcast shirts or Widow Wives Club. We also have Resilient AF, right, Anita? What else do we got in there?
Yeah, which we're telling everybody who cares, like Mel's mom, that means American fork. Because she can't know what it really means, guys.
Yeah.
Stickers and mugs and notebooks and just cool stuff that you can use to express your snarky grief. You'll find it by going to our website, shop.widowwedonow.com. There's a lot of W's in there, so just make sure that you've counted them and there's the right number.
We will link to that in the show notes, and it's also in our app, which you can get from the App Store. Can people get it from our regular website too?
Yes, if you go to widowwedonow.com, there's a link for the shop in there too.
Great. If you'd like to show your snark or have something a little more subtle, go ahead and check that out. Again, that's
shop.widowwedonow.com. Just an update on the update. We know that Krista has completed nursing school, and we are so proud of you, Krista. You have done yourself so proud. Big round of applause.
Woo! Okay, up next. Now, we've had a couple episodes with this lovely lady, Linda.
Yeah, we kind of had an update before the update.
Episode 104 is her original episode, and then we had another one where we talked about all sorts of things.
Yes.
Her name is
Linda Shanti McCabe.
Let's see what she's up to.
Hello, my name is Linda Shanti McCabe, and I was on Widow We Do Now. I don't remember the date. Grief time is so surreal, but my husband's name was Jonathan, and he died of pancreatic cancer when I had just turned 47. I am now 51. And I believe our episode was when I was about 2 years out. And now I am 4 3/4 years out. But who's counting? Just kidding. I know. We all count, I assume. Anyway, it's been 4 3/4 years for me. Grief is different. So I pretty much post-traumatic growthed my way through the first 2 years. I just made up a verb. Post-traumatic growthing there. It's a sport. And I have no regrets about that. I made a lot of art. I wrote a book. I started my Art of Grief program, which is still going, which I love. I made a lot of big life choices and decisions. Moved my son and I back to upstate New York, where I grew up. I do not regret that at all. And if I put my psychologist hat on, which is hard to do in your own personal life, the general rule of thumb is don't make any big life-changing decisions in the first year. And I changed every single aspect of my life in the first year. And I don't regret it because it was a really good move for my son and I. We are now near family. We are back in the land of 4 seasons. We used to live in San Francisco, where the seasons are sun, rain, or fog year-round. I would say what is different about grief. Well, for me, I think that I was numb for a good portion of the first year because I was very much in survival. And I was very much in this must have meaning for a long time. And so I made a lot of art and wrote a book. And then I think in year 3, I kind of crashed because I got very tired. And so I would say now grief is, in some ways, it's softer and easier. In some ways, it's harder because it's never ending, as you all know. It never ends. On a hard day, it feels relentless. On many days, it feels much easier than it used to be. In some ways, it feels a lot more tender and alive. You know, my heart is a lot more broken open to life. So here's a big thing that happened recently. I took my son and I to Florida to swim with manatees. That was a big bucket list thing. And here's the thought I had. Right before we were getting in the water, we had our wetsuits on, our scuba gear, and I had a very anxious widow thought, which is, I wonder if I'm going to die. Actually, I know I'm going to die because we all know that, but I wonder if I'm going to die in the water with the manatees. And I didn't. But, you know, my next thought was, after I wonder if I'm going to die, was this would be a good way to go. This would be a good way to go. Swimming in the water with manatees. I mean, come on. I got to tell you, though, it was pretty amazing. And if you're thinking about it, go do it. Go do it. They are such gentle giants. Such gentle giants. They had no interest in harming us. Not that was what I was worried about. I think I was just afraid. And I feel afraid a lot more now that I'm traveling with grief. And I also don't let it stop me. I think that's the big post-traumatic growth thing, is I do so many things now that scare me, kind of because they scare me, because I'm just not going to let fear stop me. And it was totally worth it to swim with the manatees. Totally worth it. So in 12-step program, they have a saying that goes like this. It says, it gets better, then it gets worse, then it gets different, then it gets real different. And I think grief is pretty similar, except for the it gets better part in the beginning. It definitely doesn't get better in the beginning. I would say it gets better as it goes along, definitely. And it gets better if you choose to lean into post-traumatic growth. It definitely gets different, and it definitely gets real different. So those are my thoughts at 4 3/4 years. I'm still running the Art of Grief program, which is an expressive arts program for badass widows who want to make chocolate cake out of the lemons of grief. I'm learning how to get better at the logistics and technology of it because I'm more of an artist than a logistic and technology person. So it's a work in progress with figuring out all the technology and learning to ask for help, which is a big growth skill for me and a lot of widows. Anyway, if you want to know about the Art of Grief, you can go to itsnotabouttheart.com, and you can get some free goodies about soul collage. I have a free monthly group, and you are welcome to join. It's not fine art. It is not Bob Ross. So that's it from me for now. Brie is still my favorite cheese. And I love you both and all that you do to help serve widows as we all go on. Okay, much love. Bye.
Linda is also doing all of the good work. Her art programs have got to be really, really amazing for widows and probably other people too. So check those out.
Yep. We love her. All right. We have a widower in the mix. Yes. I mean, sorry, Rob. Sorry that you're a widow. You know what I'm saying. Episode 100, Rob Bowles.
Hello, widow wives. I don't know if I can say that as a widower. Maybe that comes across a little polygamist. I'm Robert Bowles, the star, maybe not the star, the guest of episode 100. And I'm one of the rare and few widowers that are members of this terrible club. My wife, Sarah, passed away in 2021 from stomach cancer after a 2-year battle. She was 35, as was I. I was 35 and a half. I am now 38 3/4. I think my episode was before my year mark. I'm doing okay. 3+ years in. Kids are harder than they were maybe initially. And some of that is some of the changes that have been made. But I would say that other things have gotten easier. My levels of depression are much lower. Life is back to maybe more of a normal pace, and as normal as can be, having gone through that trauma. As far as big changes, there have been some big ones. I became reacquainted with a lady that we all knew each other, the four of us, her husband and her, and me and my wife, all knew each other in college. And then she was widowed, and then I was widowed, and now we've joined our families. Didn't only wade into the dating pool, but we're actually married and have blended our 3 boys together that are now ages 10, 11, and 12. It's been awesome to be able to support one another through some of the difficulties and struggles of being widowed. But it's also been hard blending families. I think for any situation, blending families can be difficult. I moved away from my immediate family, my parents and siblings that I lived close to, and in doing so, I lost a lot of my support system, which has been very tough. I don't think I realized how hard that would be. All my friends, I moved to where my now wife, Lucy, also a widow, lives, and it's been difficult to try to make friends as an adult. It's been difficult to be away from, my kids' grandparents and my nephews and nieces, and I had put a lot of stock into being an uncle and a brother and a son when I'd lost some of my other roles, and I've missed that, being away from it. If I were to talk to my early grief self, who, if I may use a health analogy, had a lot of open sores, just had a lot of scabs and sores and pain. Our bodies are amazing, and those sores can heal. Scars do remain, and I do still have those scars, but the sores are not open anymore. They're not oozing. Sorry for the grossness. They're not bleeding, but the scars are still there. But I would tell myself that these open sores will heal. So thanks for what you do, Anita and Mel.
Hey, Rob, if you're listening to this, I think we need an update again, because I know life for you has been also pretty crazy lately and has been a little crazy. So send us another update.
Yeah, we want to check in on you. Okay, and our final update is episode 139, Minhi England. And if you remember, she is our friend from the Seattle area who was a glassblower on the Netflix show.
Yes. I can't wait to hear what she has to say.
Hi, Anita and Mel. This is Minhi England. I did an interview with you in September 2022. At the time, I was widowed for about a year and a half, and I am approaching year 3 milestone in May. I'm the glassblower gal that talked about my stages of early grief on Netflix on Blown Away. So as a refresher, my husband died from soft tissue sarcoma that metastasized in his body. He had an amputation and died 18 months after diagnosis of cancer. So at the time, I was 32 years old, and right now I am 35 years old, approaching my 36th birthday this summer. So I guess a lot has evolved and changed in what seems like a short amount of time, but also feels like forever at the same time. And I think maybe everyone can kind of relate to that time just has this really chaotic and confusing, contrasting feelings, kind of like this after this big loss. So a lot has changed since we spoke before. I think I'm coping a lot differently now that I'm approaching my 3rd year milestone. I'm taking life much differently and slowing down a lot more than I was in my early grief. I think that after Jesse died, I was very compelled to speak out and share my story, and it was fueled by almost like an anger, like feeling unseen, like people weren't recognizing grief, not just with me, but just as a community, as large, as a society at large. And that's hugely why I decided to go on an international television show was to be able to kind of advocate for what it's like to grieve your partner's death. And after running around nonstop and traveling the world and doing all this stuff for basically 2 years straight after he passed, I was burnt out. And I started going to therapy pretty shortly after he died. And a lot of what we talk about during those sessions is this idea of like running away from my feelings, running away from my grief. So I've taken it upon myself to kind of slow down and to stop running and to just live, to just exist, to basically feel like crap every day. And I think, with those early months, that first 2 years, it was just too much. It was too much for me to face. And I've realized that, I don't know, that it's still a lot. It's still a lot. And I am just slightly more equipped now than I was then. But it still sucks. And I think that's the biggest change for me, is this change of pace. I have made some big life decisions. I did start dating kind of reluctantly, and I worked through a lot of the emotions of what that means. I didn't want to not be with someone, so that was a huge part of the loss, was having to say goodbye to a partnership and a relationship that neither of us on either end wanted to see that end. So I decided to give it a try, and I'm seeing someone. It's a wonderful relationship. We often joke that he's dating both of us, both me and Jesse. And he'll kind of refer to, my life and my home as like you guys, talking about me and Jesse, because he's still so much a part of who I am and my life and what I believe in my value system. He's still here with me in those ways. I also left my job, which is a huge thing. And I think it's going to allow me to be able to really integrate myself into these hard feelings that I have a tendency to run away from. I've been volunteering with organizations that deal with grief or even with those who are facing cancer. And that's been really fulfilling for me. So I'm really hoping that I can be able to do more community building and outreach and understanding what it is this crazy life is throwing at us. I have a lot to say about what's gone on, but also find myself at a loss of words sometimes too. But I'm making it work. I'm finding the other women who are in a position similar to mine, and it's been really eye-opening to hear how different grief is for each individual, and also very nourishing to find others who are like me. And that's it. Just kind of going day by day, riding the highs and the lows. I hope that both of you are well.
Okay, I kind of love that you guys are like, everybody's dating together, the ghost, the widow, and the new boyfriend. So high five about that.
Thank you again for submitting your updates to those guests, and we hope that you have enjoyed this lovely, lovely little piece of what's going on in other people's worlds.
Hey, and other guests, be on the lookout for an update request and then send it to us, please. We love these so much. In the meantime, check out our Patreon. It's patreon.com/WWDN to keep the podcast going.
Or buy us tacos at buymeacoffee.com/widowwedonoww. But guess what?
What?
We have a Patreon shout out.
Oh, yes.
Right now.
Hooray!
Which number of child has done this one?
Number 4, I think.
Oh, we love number 4. We love all of them. But
yes.
It's going to be good to hear from number 4.
Which I welcome them. Yeah. Welcome to our Patreon podcast. Shout out. Barbara Schneeberger, Constance Bell, Evelyn Flores, Kimberly Moreno, Krista Waitt, Kristen Pollack, Maya Glasser, Neil Hooper, Karen Cornejo, Alexis King Audello, Amy Hartman Martell, Ashley On, Brandy Younger, Chris Steffen, Connie Ramage, David Kelly, Don Satterwhite, Deb Nylec, Dennis Brozo, Jen O'Brien, Jenny Armstrong, Jennifer Brown, Karen Lindsay, Lou Glosson, Marie Hoffman, Meg Martell, Patricia Weist, Sunshine Haven, Alicia McAllister, Alicia Wynn, Amy Burt, and Drennan, Annie Tracy, Audrey Henniger, Becky Marnett, Brittany Cruz, Kathy Mazzeta, Christine Anderson, Cindy Rayno, Dawn Barber, Deborah Westwood, DJ Gronin, welcome, Dries Reichel, Emily Riesenberg, Eric Vandermeulen, Gabe Lozana, Gia Benoit, Gina Hoth, Jackie Coyle, Jan Seeley, Jen Turk, Jennifer Davis, Jennifer Sanders, Jenny Barrow, Jenny Dippold, Jessica All, Jessica Burke, Jill Hanson Williams, Johanna Jakins, Judy Malkin, Karen Ochoa, Carol Schultz, Kathy Murray, Katie Saucier, Kimberly Shelley, Kira Vinson, Laura Keeley, Laura C., Linda, Lindsay Kanatka, Marianne Hammond, Marianne McDonald, Megan Ramsey, Melissa Bowers, Mintu McGurn, Missy Muhlstein, Rachel Tang, Rebecca Olemaker, Becky Ziba, Stacy Saywert, Susie Dunnigan, Terry Huston, Trenton Thompson, Secrets by Wendy.
In addition, Rita B. Welcome.
Thank you.
Mel,
Yeah,
we have a major announcement to make.
go for it.
Did you know that right now all plans on Mint Mobile are what?
$15 a month.
Okay, that's truly ridiculous. Do you know how much regular cell phones are?
Yep.
$1 bazillion a month. 15 is less than that.
New customers get 3 months of unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month if you sign up right now. And guess what? I use it. I love it. I've used it all over the country, all over the world, and it's great. And if you're wondering about phones, they have those available as well, or you can just port your own number and your current phone over to Mint Mobile. They make it so easy.
So if people are interested in trying out Mint Mobile, how can they go about doing that?
Go to trymintmobile.com/WWDN. And you know, it's interesting. When my dad died, we actually put his phone on a Mint Mobile plan because it kept his number going, but it was $15 a month. So there you go. And there's different storage plans, but you might as well just get the unlimited because it's $15 a month.
Absolutely. All right, go try it today.
That's trymintmobile.com/WWDN.